פרק רביעי, משנה א', 4th chapter, first Mishnah. ביאור משנה א', משנה זו באה ללמד, this Mishnah comes to teach us, מה היו עושים בשקלים שתרמו מן הלשכה, what was done with the money that was given to the לשכה, ומילאו מהם את הקופות. We discussed yesterday how they used to store them, yeah, and all the charity boxes, how they used to be kept and so on. התרומה, תרומת הלשכה, so this תרומה, the תרומה that the Jews collected in taxes, the שקלים, מה היו עושים בה? What did they used to do with it? על מה היו מוציאים את השקלים שניתנו לקופות? What kind of expenses were they used with all the money that was given to the kupot? So the first one we know is easy, that's what it was collected for. לוקחים בה תמידים, they used to buy 2 תמידים, 2 sheep every day. היו קונים בשקלים אלו כבשים לעולות, sheep for עולת, sacrifice of עולה. התמיד, that is constant, שקרבו בכל יום, that they brought every day, shachris and mincha. So the sheep for shachris and mincha was bought with that money. What else was bought with that money? Musafim. Every time we daven Musaf, Rosh Chodesh, of your holiday, Shabbat, Yom Kippur, every time we daven Musaf, Musafim, behemot lekorbanot Musaf, animals for the sacrifice of the Musaf, שקרבו בשבתות, בראשי חודשים מועדות, that we bring in Shabbat, first of the month, and all the holidays, כמפורט בפרשת פנחס, like we learned in פנחס. ונזקיהם, also the thing that accompany the sheep. For example, המנחות, all the wheat offerings was bought from that money. ונסחי היין, all the wine that was poured on the altar, הקרבים עמהם, that was brought with them. העומר, the מנחת העומר, מנחת העומר שמביאים ב-16 בניסן מן השעורים. So that was also brought from that money. The wheat was, the barley was brought from that money. ושתי הלחם שמביאים מחג השבועות. And the wheat offering that we bring on Shavuot also was bought from that money. ולחם הפנים, also every Friday, the לחם הפנים for every Friday. 12 האכלות הניתנות על השולחן במקדש בכל שבת. The 12 breads that were bought every Shabbos, that was also brought from that money. וכל קורבנות הציבור, in any sacrifice of the ציבור. But you already covered all the sacrifice. Why do you say it again? To tell you, לרבות הקטורת. Also the money for the incense, that's also a sacrifice for the congregation, was also bought from that money. שומרי ספיחים בשביעית. Also, what else was brought from that money, was used with that money? In the 7th year, you had a problem. Where you're going to take all the wheat offerings? Because the 7th year, so it's not really a problem. You can just go out to the field and collect it. It's not really a problem because anybody can get. It doesn't belong to anybody. But it is a problem because you don't want everybody else to get before you. So what did they used to do? Because first of all, it's not going to be available also. You don't know if it's going to be finished. So what did they used to do? They used to hire guards. They used to hire guards that says, we don't need a lot. We need 5 acres or whatever it is of wheat, or less 2 acres. You guard it. Don't let anybody else do it. And they used to pay the guards from that money also. שומרי ספיחים בשביעים, בשנת השמיטה, in the year of the שמיטה, שפירותיה הפקר, that all the fruits are הפקר, they belong to anybody. היו בית דין סוחרים שומרים, the judges, the בית דין, they used to hire guards, לשמור בקצת מקומות על הספיחים שעלו מעליהם. The fields are going to have a little bit grow by themselves. So they had the guards watch over it. שלא יאכלו מבהמות. First of all, that the animals are not going to eat them. וכן להודיע לבני אדם שלצורך המקדש הם. And also to tell the people, hey, get everything else. This one live for us. This is for the temple. כדי להביא מהם את העומר בפסח ושתי הלחם בעצרת. To bring enough barley, enough wheat. Of course, you don't need a lot. It's a small area. But you need to pay the gods. שאינם באים אלא מן התבואה החדשה אומרת ישראל. Because you cannot bring from last year's produce. Because you have to bring from this year's produce. And you cannot bring from out of the land of Israel. You have to bring from within the land of Israel. So you don't have a choice to buy it out from Syria, for example. ואותם השומרים, and those gods, נוטלים שכרם מתרומת הלשכה. They used to get their payments from that money. So that money was also used, we also see for gods. שצורך קורבן כקורבן היא. Because this is, everything until now was a direct sacrifice. Now this is not a direct sacrifice. It says it doesn't matter. You need it for the sacrifice. That money is considered to be sacrifice. We learned about Me'ilah in the last chapters. Eli, when you were not here, Me'ilah means that you're not allowed to change the money that was given to you to another purpose. You know, for example, if somebody gave you money for school, you're not allowed to. You have extra. You're not allowed to take that money and open a hospital with it. Open another school. But you're not allowed to open a hospital. You have to keep it to the... So people gave it for sacrifices. What are you using it for gods? So it says it is for sacrifices. Because the gods are for the sacrifices. It's what's called Me'ilah. Okay. ויש מבארים הטעם, and there are those who explains the reason, שהשכר שנותנים לשומרים, הרי כאילו קונים בו את העומר ושתי הלחם. It says that the payment that you give to the gods, it is as if you buy with it the omer v'shtei alechem. It's like they're the merchant and you buy the sacrifice from them. It's the same thing. Rabbi Yossi Omer, and here comes Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi Omer says, look, we don't need to pay gods. It's not necessary. But I'm going to find you plenty of volunteers who are going to do that. It's a big mitzvah. Everybody will be willing to volunteer for it. So this is what Rabbi Yossi Omer. Rabbi Yossi says, אף הרוצה מתנדב שומר חינם. He says, if anybody wants to come and give it, his time as charity to guard the wheat, he's allowed to do it, and then his din is like shomer chinam.
Then he wouldn't have liability, that if something happened...
True, he wouldn't have liability.
They wouldn't have wheat. They can afford this risk.
But Rabbi Yossi says you're allowed to. Very good. יכול אדם להתנדב לשמור בחינם על הספיחים הללו. A person is able to just give his time for these things. אמרו לו חכמים לרבי יוסי, so חכמים said back to רבי יוסי, אף אתה אומר, הרי גם אתה מודה. He says, we don't understand. You also admit שאינם באים, שאין קורבנות הציבור באים, אלא משיל ציבור. It says, you have a problem. If it's because you volunteer, it's only your money. In other words, you're volunteering your time. And we have a law that korbanot tzibur, lo yosif velo moed. It says everybody has to give exactly half a shekel. You're not allowed to give more and not allowed to give less, because then some people are going, so it says, how can you do this? You're giving more. Your time is worth money. You cannot do that. ואם התנדב אדם לשמור על הספיחים בחינם, and if a person wanted to guard on the wheat with no money, בחינם, הרי זכה בהם, then it's his. It becomes his. שקנה אותם מן ההפקר, that it's his now, and then he's giving more, he's giving his money. ונמצא שאין העומר ושתי הלחם באים של ציבור, and then it doesn't belong to the congregation. ואף על פי שמסרם לשם כל ציבור, and even though he's giving it for the sake of the entire congregation, מכל מקום סוברים חכמים, the sage says, שאין הציבור יוצאים מהם ידי חובתם. It says it's true that when he gives it in their name, but it says it's not good enough. לפי שאין קורבן יחיד משתנה לקורבן ציבור. Because it's already a sacrifice in your hand, the wheat is the sacrifice, and it's an individual sacrifice, and then say the individual sacrifice becomes a communal sacrifice. With the money that we learned before, it wasn't a sacrifice, yes. This is the sacrifice. You're buying the sacrifice itself. If money, you're allowed to give money to the congregation. That's one thing. But over here, you're holding the sacrifice. It is your sacrifice. It's your sheep. It's like your sheep and you're giving it to the congregation. Your sheep was already a sacrifice. You're not allowed to exchange. That's what the Rabbanim says. Beram, Rabbi Yossi Sover, so how does Rabbi Yossi say differently? What does Rabbi Yossi hold? שקורבן יחיד משתנה לקורבן ציבור. Rabbi Yossi holds that individual sacrifice does transfer over to a communal sacrifice. הילקח, אף על פי שהתנתב יחיד לשמור את הסיפורים, so therefore, even though that an individual volunteered to be a god, ונמצא שזכה בהם, and it's true that it belongs to him now, מכל מקום, אם מביאם לשם כל ציבור, but nevertheless, if he brought them for the sake of the entire congregation, מותר להקריבם, you are allowed to give them, והציבור יוצאים בהם ידי חובתם, and the congregation are good with their obligation. וההלכה כחכמים, but the law is like חכמים, that he is not allowed to do it by himself. אבל לא מאותו הטעם שהזכרנו, but not for that reason that we mentioned, for a different reasons. לפי שאין קורבן יחיד משתנה לשל ציבור, because a singular sacrifice does not, we said that the reason is because a singular sacrifice belonging to a person does not change to become a communal. שאומנם אם היחיד מוסרו מטרה גבוהה לציבור, הרי זה מועיל, because even according to חכמים, if it's a complete present, even the חכמים are going to admit that it should be enough, אלא מטעם אחר. It's not allowed from a different reason. Why? שגזרו חכמים, over here comes what Arya said in the beginning, that the sages says, a decree of the sages, it's not halachic from the Torah. It says it's a problem. Why? משגזרו חכמים משום בעלי זרוע. The Chachamim are worried maybe there's going to be guys who are going to be mafioners, robbers, who are going to come and take it by force. שמא יבואו ויתלו מהשומרים. They can come and take it with force from the guards. And so what? If they're going to come to create for the third, both of them are guards. Because it's a different responsibility, like Arya says. לפיכך תקנו חכמים שיתלו שכר מן הלשכה. So it says, once you take money, you have more responsibility. That's right. שומר חינם. It says, okay, I can imagine. Once you take money, now you have a responsibility. You're going to have liabilities. כדי שיהיו הכל פורשים מאותו מקום שאלו שומרים בהם. So that's the reason why you're not allowed to. Not because technically you can transfer a singular sacrifice to become plural if you say it is only for the congregation and give the whole thing. Okay.